They said the counting pines didn't exist. But everything has a price, even discovery. Welcome to the Crypto-Numismatist. Hello and welcome. Today, I, Richard Evans, take you on a journey through the wonderful world of currency and hidden treasure. This show is the last in my 11-part series on the counting pines. If you're tuning in for the first time, I'd invite you to check out the previous episodes. But if, like me, you're the kind of person who likes to skip to the end of a book, then keep listening. I know I will. So, here I am on Gyre Rock, a small island off the coast of... I'd prefer not to say. The local government has made it very clear they don't want people poking around. I couldn't find any reason why. No deaths, no accidents, at least none reported, and it's not a park or preserve. We've talked about possible origins of the counting pines in previous episodes. Were they carved by indigenous tribes or some lost Viking expedition? Perhaps they mark the location of stolen Hudson Bay Company bullion, or maybe they're the remnants of Alvaretta Lark's doomed attempt to found a 14th colony. Even those who acknowledge their existence believe the pines are a part of a bigger mystery, something to be explored and unraveled. I think they're wrong. The counting pines don't lead to a treasure. They are the treasure. Which brings me to Gyre Rock. The island was near impossible to find, not being on any maps. Even satellite photos were useless. This whole stretch of sea is little more than miles of slate-gray water. If I hadn't come across those anonymous posts on the crypto forums, I don't think I would have known where to search. Even then, it took a lot of digging. People had Gyre Island all over the place, from the Florida Keys all the way up to Labrador, and that's just the Atlantic sightings. I found logs back to the 1700s detailing islands very similar to Gyre in places as varied as the Orkney Isles, Hokkaido, and upstate Washington. I must have spent weeks combing the internet. It got to the point I was even dreaming of trees. But you know that. You've been with me all the way. For those of you who haven't, check out the previous 2 episodes where I detail my journey to Gyre, from washed-out roads to frozen bridges to boat engine repairs in the middle of a winter storm. Fortunately, I came well-equipped, thanks to our sponsor, MyCoin. MyCoin, a practical, portable, oh-so-personal currency for the digital age. With no cumbersome blockchain to manage, no tracking or transaction fees, and never any third-party commissions, MyCoin is at your fingertips, literally. Gyre Island isn't much to look at, maybe a square mile of rocks and scrub fronted by scarred cliffs and breakers cold enough to snatch the breath from my lungs. I planned to make camp on the shore, but the ground isn't flat enough to pitch a tent, and the wind makes it impossible to talk. The only place quiet enough to record was down in the pines, which suits me just fine. The island forms a sort of bowl, high winds screaming around the outside, waves swirling in the strange spiral patterns that give the place its name. There's a scattering of snow on the ground, but mostly ice. My only companions are a few hardy cormorants up on the northern point. I probably should have waited for spring, but I couldn't leave you all hanging. Honestly, though, it's kind of nice down here in the pines. Quiet. I know, you're waiting for me to talk about the trees. Well, let me tell you, the sketches and bark rubbings don't do them justice. There must be hundreds of them down here, all different sizes, ranging from about waist-high to around 60 feet or so. That's a little over 18 meters for my international listeners. The needles are dark green on top, pale blue on the bottom, long and soft, like the bristles of a paintbrush, but sharp. I ran my hand over one and had a dozen of them slip through my glove and into my palm. I didn't even feel them go in. They cover the ground, the needles, thick and bouncy like I'm walking on a mattress. Thankfully, the soles of my boots are heavy enough to keep them from poking my feet, although they are wrecking the rubber. Here, let me see if I can dig down. Wow, the needles even scar up metal. They're like flecks of broken glass. It's just rock down here. No soil, no water, nothing. Can't believe it. Looks like the roots go straight into the stone. I'm not sure how they grow. Oh, these needles are like burrs. I can't get them off. Looks like there's a date with a pair of tweezers in my future. It's not true you can hear the pines whispering numbers. At least, I haven't heard anything. There's not even any breeze down here. Let me turn the gain all the way up. See if you can make anything out. That's one legend debunked. But we didn't come for whispers and pine needles. The trunks. The trunks. I'm looking at one now. One of the larger trees. It's thrust up between two broken boulders, almost as if it ripped its way free. I know roots can crack stone, but these rocks look old. Before I tell you about the pines, it's time for our Hidden Currency segment. This one comes from the South Pacific. The islands of Yap sit roughly equidistant from New Guinea and the Philippines, surrounded by coral atolls, home to manta rays, sharks, and all manner of aquatic life. They're some of the more isolated islands on Earth. Perhaps due to this isolation, the islanders developed a form of currency unlike any other. Giant stone wheels, some almost 12 feet in diameter and weighing up to 8 tons. Known as Rai or Fei stones, the Yap Islanders would risk their lives on a roughly 300-mile journey to the island of Palau to quarry the calcite deposits, then ferry the impossibly heavy stones back to their homes. The value of each Rai was determined not only by its size and weight, but by the stone's history, and the danger undertaken in its transport, even the time of year it had been quarried. When one of these massive coins was used as payment, there would be a ceremony transferring ownership. The stone itself wouldn't be moved, but the public spectacle ensured everyone knew who possessed each Rai. What a fascinating bit of numismatic history. I suppose you could even say the Yap Islanders invented the first blockchain. And that was our Hidden Currency segment, brought to you by MyCoin. MyCoin. It's already part of you. Why not spend it? Now, back to the pines. There are dozens of symbols, even on the smallest pine. There's been a lot of talk in the forums about words or even messages being carved into the trunks. But I can tell at a glance these aren't letters, not words. They're numbers. The bark rubbings don't provide much insight. At first I thought someone had carved the trunks. Now I'm not so sure. If anything, these numbers seem to be grown. I thought the counting pines might be currency, something measured, something fungible, like the Rai stones. Now, down here among them, I don't think that's true. They seem more like an accounting, a transaction log, ancient bookkeeping. The bigger strings of symbols are inconceivably long, spiraling like wire up the central trunk of each tree. I'm going to try and climb one so I can follow the symbols up to the higher branches. It's no good. I keep losing track. The individual numbers are maybe the size of a thumbnail, but I can see smaller ones in between, just beneath the bark, hard to see, like rocks beneath a strong river current. It's hard to keep track of them. Sorry, I dropped the recorder. Fortunately, the ground is soft. Well, I mean, the ground is frozen, but the needles are soft, fine, like baby's hair. My hands are covered in needles. Actually, they're all over me. Sharp and sweet. Oh, God, I love the smell of pines. Damn, I must have scraped myself climbing. Nothing major, just a little blood. Okay, more than a little, but nothing to be worried about. They're under my skin, the needles, little slivers of insight. It doesn't hurt. If anything, it feels good. It feels like understanding. Don't worry, I'll head back to the tent in a few. A little gauze should do the trick. For now, I need to look deeper. Yes, I can see them now. Smaller and smaller, like ants, like fleas, like atoms. They're rising through the bark, the ground, the air, through me. I need to take off my coat. Oh, my hands, my arms. It's beautiful. The numbers grow from me. Roots, cracking brittle stone. I understand now. The pines aren't counting. Addition, subtraction, such two-dimensional accounting cannot possibly encompass what I'm seeing here. There are more directions than we perceive, unseen geometry shifting just beyond sight, our reality circumscribed by the bounds of inadequate arithmetic. We have been tricked. A lie of omission, but a lie nonetheless. The pines can show me. All I need is a better view. Gotta get down into the needles. It hurts, but I don't mind. Everything has a price, especially the truth.
Whoa there, fella. That is not a good place to lie down.
Who are you? Are you another seeker of the hidden currencies?
No. Why do people keep thinking that? Yeah, I'm just out for a walk. Needed to grab some of these needles for a sewing project. But you look like you could use a hand, friend.
I'm right where I'm meant to be. Each cell is a coin, counting and being counted, part of the crimson chain that flows.
That's enough. You've just got a bit of the mathpin sickness. Here, take a sip of this.
Ow! Ow! What? Where am I?
Not to worry there, young fella. You just had a bit of a whoopsie out here. See, there's crypto, and then there's crypto. That sip of void grass extract will help. Now, I'm going to walk back to my RV, and we'll get you patched up. You look a bit like a pine and a bit like a hedgehog.
I feel strange.
Well, that's not the worst thing to feel. We're all strange animals. Might as well act like it. Thanks to Evan Dicken for writing the bulk of today's episode. By day, Evan studies old Japanese maps and crunches data for medical research at Ohio State University. By night, he does neither of these things. His audio fiction can be heard performed on the No Sleep podcast, Pseudopod, Beneath Ceaseless Skies, and Podcastle. He also writes media tie-in fiction for Legend of the Five Rings and Warhammer, Age of Sigmar. If you've got nothing better to do, feel free to visit him at evandicken.com. And thanks to Matthew Zonzinger for voicing our crypto-numismatist. Matthew is an amateur chef, a would-be world traveler, and still very much a stage actor in the greater Boston area. If you're also in the area, check out theateruncorked.com for info on his next performance in The Lion in Winter this December. He has been a regular cast member on the Penumbra podcast and a featured guest on Second Star to the Left. Reach out to him for voice acting inquiries at zonzinger.m@gmail.com. The theme song for the Crypto-Numismatist was Homeward by Scott Buckley. Visit scottbuckley.com.au for more information.
To find bonus content and a variety of strange rewards, support our show by visiting patreon.com/CryptoNaturalist. You can also help by rating, reviewing, and telling a friend. The CryptoNaturalist is written and read by Jarod K. Anderson. For books and poetry collections by Jarod K. Anderson and Leslie J. Anderson, visit CryptoNaturalist.com/books. You'll find information about submitting your poetry or prose for our hidden lore segments in the About section of our website at CryptoNaturalist.com. This show is produced and edited by Tracy Barnett. You can find them online anywhere at TheOtherTracy or TheOtherTracy.com. Thanks to Adam Hurt for the use of his song Garfield's Blackberry Blossom from his album Insight. For more information on Adam's music, performances, and teaching, visit adamhurt.com. Reminder: transcripts of this and every episode are available at CryptoNaturalist.com. stay curious, stay wild, stay weird.
Postscript. Folks who think to spend nature as if it were currency will learn, in time, that not all value is within the reach of human reckoning. You know, money may be imaginary, but imaginary is certainly not the same as harmless.